The film begins with Heather and her two friends, Connie and Amy, rushing to the train station to catch the train that will take them to Barcelona. They catch the train, get on, and sit in their seats. We learn they are on a trip through Europe together, moving from one city to another on a specific route. Later on the train, we notice Amy looking admiringly at a young man, one of the passengers. Amy gets up and goes after him, striking up a conversation and leaving Heather with Connie. A little later, another passenger arrives and surprises them by climbing up to the luggage rack to sleep there. Later that night, the young man looks down at Heather and tells her he can't sleep because the luggage rack is uncomfortable. He asks her what's keeping her awake. Heather tells him she's thinking about a novel she was reading. They share a pleasant conversation, and he introduces himself as Jack from New Zealand. He wishes her a good night and tries to sleep. The next day, they arrive by train in Barcelona. Outside the train, Jack is with them and walks with them out of the station. Jack finds out they are all meeting at a nightclub that night, so he arranges to meet them there, says goodbye, and they part ways. Afterwards, Heather and her two friends go sightseeing in Barcelona. At night, they go to the nightclub. Jack arrives with his friend Rafe and greets them. Connie goes to dance with Rafe, and Amy sees Victor, the guy she met on the train, so she goes to dance with him, leaving Heather with Jack. Jack suggests they go outside because the music is loud and annoying. They leave the club, talk, and get to know each other. Heather asks him if he has a job. Jack tells her he's currently unemployed, but has worked many random jobs. Heather tells her she studied at university, and after graduating she moved to New York City and worked as an accountant at a bank. Jack comments that they seem to be opposites in their lifestyles. She loves planning and commitment, while he loves improvisation and randomness. He suggests this difference might be the very reason they could get together. We notice here that Heather is charmed by his spontaneity and personality as he speaks. Later, we see Heather walking and talking with her friend Connie, with Jack and his friend Rafe behind them. Connie tells her she likes Rafe and is going to spend the night with him. She says goodbye and leaves with him. Jack walks with Heather and they talk about their interests in novels and literature. Jack stops and points to a cable car. He takes her with him and they break through the door, climbing the stairs to the car above. They look out at the city view from the car. Jack tells her that his grandfather used to write in a diary, which he left for him before he died. He explains that he's on this trip specifically to visit all the places written in his grandfather's diary. That's his itinerary. Heather finds what he's doing sweet, as he's honoring his grandfather's memory and visiting the places he was in the past. A romantic moment happens between them, and Jack kisses her. The next day, they wake up together in the cable car as it starts moving. A worker yells at them for being in the car, so they quickly get out and run away from the workers. At the hotel, a hysterical Amy tells them that Victor, the guy she met on the train, stole her money and belongings. She says when she woke up, her passport and all her money were gone. They want to go to the embassy and report it, but Jack asks her to show him where his apartment is. Amy takes them to Victor's apartment. From the door, Victor denies stealing from her, but when they threaten to call the police, he looks nervous and says he'll go inside to look for her things. Before he can close the door, Jack pushes it open and they barge into the apartment. Victor escapes through the window. Amy finds her belongings, and they also find extra money. Jack figures this money must be stolen too, and thinks they are justified in taking it as compensation. They leave happy. With the money, they rent a convertible car, drive around, and reach a coastal village. Heather asks them to stop so she can take souvenir photos, but Jack steps out of the pictures, not liking to be photographed. Afterwards, they walk on the beach, rent a boat, have fun together, and go diving. Then, Amy tells them she's decided to tour Europe on her own to meet another guy she met from a different city. She's confident this time she won't be deceived like she was with Victor. They say goodbye to her the next day, and Connie leaves with Rafe in a taxi. Jack asks Heather to go with him to visit the next place in his grandfather's diary. She agrees, and they head off together. When they reach the spot, Jack sees a group of tourists taking selfies. He comments that they aren't living in the moment, calling them hypocrites who only care about appearances. Heather doesn't understand why he's so upset about selfies. He tells her people who do that are superficial. Heather takes his words personally since she does the same thing. She tells him he's being judgmental, gets upset, and walks away. Jack goes after her and apologizes, saying he didn't mean it that way. He reminds her that her flight is in an hour and they shouldn't part ways while they're upset with each other. Heather forgives him. Jack then drives her to the airport. However, he asks her not to leave and to stay with him. He tries to get her excited about the idea, to change her plans and extend her vacation. Heather is hesitant, but she agrees. Then they walk off together, heading to the next place in the grandfather's diary. The next day they continue, and Jack shares more of his thoughts and beliefs about life with her. They sleep together that night in the hotel room. The next day they attend a bull festival. Jack suddenly decides to join in and run with the locals from the bulls. But a bull hits him and he falls. He's taken to the hospital with an injured arm. Heather comments on what he did, calling him reckless, but Jack doesn't care and decides nothing will stop him from continuing his journey. Days pass, and we see them moving from place to place according to the grandfather's diary, without any plan or knowing where they'll go next. Heather talks to her friends Connie and Amy on the phone, updating them on her trip with Jack. She tells them she's having fun. Connie asks her what will happen between them after their trip ends, but Heather doesn't know. She tells her she'll try to bring up the subject with Jack so they can figure out the fate of their relationship. Later, on the bus, Heather is asleep. Jack gets a call, so he moves to another seat to answer it. We hear him talking to his doctor, who tells him they need him to do another scan and set an appointment. He agrees. We don't understand the reason for the scan the doctor requested. Jack returns to his seat next to Heather, looking worried. Later, while they're at a restaurant, Heather accidentally discovers a folded paper in the diary's cover that Jack hadn't noticed. Jack reads the paper. In it, his grandfather writes about an island called Santa Bo. On this island, they hold a dance festival every year, and they consider the dance a way to confront death. Both Heather and Jack don't know if this festival still happens or if it ended long ago. Heather keeps the paper in her bag. Later, as they walk, Heather asks him if he plans to write a book in the future about his experience. Jack replies that he isn't thinking about that, and assures her he doesn't like to think about the future. At that point, Heather asks him to talk seriously. She finds his idea of not caring about the future to be irresponsible. She tells him he needs to know what he's going to do with his future. But Jack replies this is his vision for the life he wants to live. He doesn't want to think about the future, he just wants to live in the moment. Heather tells her she gets confused if she doesn't plan and know her next step. She tells him directly that she wants to know the fate of their relationship and where it is headed. But Jack doesn't want to talk about it and avoids giving her a specific answer. This causes a rift between them and they get upset with each other. But the following night, Jack returns to the hotel room and surprises her by telling her he's decided to travel with her to New York City. She's thrilled, as this is what she wanted. The next day, they go to the airport to travel to New York City together. But Jack gets a call from his doctor, who tells him he must come to the clinic because his latest test results are in. Jack looks hesitant. He excuses himself to Heather, saying he's going to the bathroom and will be back before boarding. He leaves her and goes to the bathroom, but takes a long time. She sends him a message, but he doesn't reply. She keeps waiting until she gets worried because the passengers are boarding. She goes to look for him in the bathroom, but he isn't there. She hears the final boarding call. She calls him, but he doesn't answer. She panics and doesn't know what to do. She talks to an attendant, trying to explain she can't find her friend, but the attendant tells her she must board the plane as there's no time. Heather is forced to get on the plane, hoping to find him there. But she finds his seat empty. She receives a message from Jack saying, "I'm sorry." At that moment, Heather realizes he has abandoned her. Sadness washes over her, and her eyes fill with tears.
We then cut to New York City. We see Heather meeting her two friends, Connie and Amy. She sits with them and tells them what Jack did to her. Amy thinks he's a jerk and that he deceived her. Connie agrees with her. They tell her she shouldn't think about him because he's not worth her attention. A few days later, Heather goes to Texas to visit her family. Her family welcomes her home, happy to see her. Inside the house, Heather talks to her father about her trip with Jack. She tells him she always felt comfortable when she had a plan and knew what her future held. That's what she understood all her life. But when she was with Jack on the trip, moving from place to place without a plan, she felt a new, different feeling. And she really enjoyed it. Her father replies, telling her the feeling she's describing is the feeling of freedom. But, he says, while this feeling is wonderful at first, it doesn't last long. He hopes she makes the decisions that make her happy in her life, because that's the most important thing. He leaves her and goes to sleep. Later, Heather gets a message from her friend Connie, telling her that Rafe proposed to her and they're planning to get married soon. Heather replies, saying she's so happy for them and will definitely attend their wedding. We then jump forward to Connie and Rafe's wedding. The ceremony is completed, and they are happy. Later, we see Heather dancing with Rafe. She wants to know if Jack has contacted him at all since he left her. Rafe looks at her and senses she really needs an answer to get closure, so he asks her to come with him. He takes her to a room and reveals that Jack had left a letter with him, asking him to give it to her after a few months. Heather takes the letter and thanks him for giving it to her now. She reads the letter. In it, Jack says he made a difficult decision when he left her at the airport, and that he was in pain watching her look for him. He tells her he is sick with a malignant tumor, and had been hiding it from her. He assures her he spent the best time of his life with her, but he realized he was just running from a reality, that his death was inevitable, and he didn't have much time left. Because his future was uncertain, he avoided thinking about it. He tells her that his journey with her made him feel at peace, and that the shared memories they built together are the map that helped him find himself and not get lost in his final days. After Heather reads the letter, she remembers the diary paper she had kept. She searches for it in her bag, finds it, and reads the name of the island, Santa Bo. She looks it up on a map, guessing Jack would go there. She decides to travel there. She informs her two friends of her decision, leaves them, and we see her on a long journey until she reaches the island. Sure enough, she finds the dance festival taking place. While she's there, hoping to see Jack, she spots him. Jack looks at her stunned. She approaches him and he asks her how she found him. She tells him she remembered his grandfather's diary and had to have hope they would meet again. Jack tells her frankly that he can't offer her any future. Heather tells him she only wants to think about this moment, with him. She tells him she loves him. Jack tells her he loves her too. They move closer to each other amidst the festival and the dancing.